And so I think one of the key tasks for this committee, and for anyone who's considering judicial selection reform is to how to ensure that you have a process that doesn't have the appearance or perhaps even the reality of being politicized in that way, where you have to maintain a level of insulation between the political actors that are engaged in the process and the judiciary.
Mr. Chairman, I wonder if I could interject a question, and whether that would throw you off your stride. I don't want to take you off your presentation, but I just was struck by something you just said.
Senator Bishop, you're recognized.
Thank you. Ms. Bannon, I'm trying to process what you just said about the politics and how it connects back to what Dean Brinkley said. So Dean Brinkley, I think the fair summary would be to think you can divorce politics from the judicial system entirely is sort of naive, I guess, my paraphrase. And I think you just redefine that in the sense that it would be inappropriate to have alliances to a particular political side, maybe, but it's okay for individual judges to have their own personal preferences between philosophies and act on those. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I think every judge has a particular, has a particular worldview that is informed by, I think, judicial philosophy and experience, and that's going to inform how they understand cases. And and I think as long as they're acting in good faith based on their understanding of the law, the fact that two very accomplished judges might come at a case and come out to different outcomes doesn't sort of undermine their role as judges. It reflects that, in some cases at least, there are hard questions, and depending on, your particular kind of approach to thinking about jurisprudence and the like, you might come out in a different way. I think what can potentially undermine public confidence in the courts is a situation where judges are not in good faith applying their understanding of what the law requires, informed by their judicial philosophy and the like, but are rather imposing their personal political preferences or other preferences as part of their decision making. And I think that's what risks undermining judicial legitimacy.
The follow-up, Mr. Chairman.
Follow-up.
If there is, if a judge is active, if the system that we were to select to pick judges results in the selection of a disproportionate number of judges whose worldview, as you just put it, differs from the majority of the people, how would that system have democratic legitimacy?
Well, I think that you're raising important and deep questions. I think that you want to have a system that is seen by the public as sort of generally reflecting, the public's values writ large. I think what I would do, an important distinction is between, how a judge might rule in any particular case versus sort of generally, having judges that reflect, broadly speaking, values of the public. Ultimately, judges are going to have to, judges need to have the space to decide cases based on what they think the law requires, and sometimes a particular case is going to be unpopular. What the people might prefer might be inconsistent with what the law requires. And so I think what's crucial is that judges have the space to decide cases based on what they understand the law requires. Now that will certainly be informed by their own kind of experiences and understanding of the law. Smart people can disagree on the law. I think what's very important in terms of structuring the system is that you have space for judges to do their job.